Hello, Army of Light, Earth Division, the boots on the ground. It's Shawna L. Francis. Today is May 28th, 2024. Thank you for being here for the weekly briefing. This is going to be part 2 of 2. Last week's channeling, Melchizedek started a conversation about our planet's most vulnerable, the babies and children here, and what has been going on here to help weaken the family unit and to really contribute to the vulnerability of our children and babies here on the planet. I just want to say right now, team, this is an extremely difficult video for me to make. It's been one of these weeks where every day this week we are working through this information. I have a lot to go through. I am going to take my time, but I'm giving you a huge warning right now. If you're not feeling in the mood to be hearing some dreadful things and to be really considering these ideas, these concepts, I suggest that you skip this video in its entirety or you come back at a later time. Certainly, if you're able to just be sitting down, holding space, tuning into the frequencies, breathing through all of this, that is going to be your best bet. But this is going to be really tough. And Melchizedek and I worked on this all week. As soon as Wednesday came around last week, we started in and we continued with this conversation about the babies and the children. So this is really hard, guys. It's been I'm going to say it's been an excruciating week for me this week. Trying to get through this information. It's one thing, I think, to understand mentally, intellectually, that these things could be true. Like you can see how, yeah, I could see how that could be true. But I think for me, it's been a whole other thing to really have a sinking knowing, like deep in like the seat of my soul here in my heart space, a knowing, at least for me, that this is true. You know, coming through working with these guides for a couple of years now, really the Galactic Federation of Light, Melchizedek, all of these guides for the last 5.5 years, you know, this what they're saying today, this represents quite the accomplishment for us, that we are actually ready to hear this information. We're ready to entertain it as a possibility. So I'm going to get into this here, guys, and I'm going to take my time, and I'm probably going to jump around a little bit. It's just been one of those weeks. I'm just, Melchizedek is here with me, with all of you. If you could be sitting quietly, breathing, holding space, and just being present for this, I highly recommend that. I'd say otherwise, if you're not feeling this, team, skip this video altogether or come back at a later time when you're feeling more like you can maybe handle this. This is really tough stuff. And it does mark an important milestone here for our collective consciousness that Melchizedek is saying we're ready. They're ready to talk about it, even though this has been very hard for them as well this week. But more importantly, the consciousness here, at least with our group, the constituents, the Army of Light Earth Division, we're ready to take this information. We're ready to hear it. And again, team, we are in the disclosure phase. And we knew that 2024, from what the guides were saying earlier, is going to be all about disclosure. All right, I think with that, so just a big warning, guys, just skip this altogether if you're not feeling it. I mean, I've decided to leave comments on for this video, and I'm probably going to be a little bit cryptic in the description for it and the title for it, but you know you're supposed to be here. And if you're here for the very first time, I would say at the very least, go back and watch last week's part 1 of this series. This is part 2 of 2, although I imagine we'll have many more discussions about this because I have a ton of questions, and I'm just going to make sure that we get our questions answered. And Melchizedek says they will answer everything in time. Anyway, skip this if you're not feeling it. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and get into this. And again, I'm going to be jumping around a little bit and taking my time with this information. There were 4 days of channeling this week. Actually, I worked with them every single day. Some of it was energy work. And, you know, energetically, this has been really difficult to get through. And all of us needing to be so vigilant with our energy fields. I've, tried to be very conscious about how I'm feeling, the anger, the sadness, feeling shell shocked, and trying to work through that while still honoring it. So it's been an interesting balance this week. Okay. So again, please listen to part 1 of this from last week if you haven't already. This is a continuation. And this particular channeling here, the beginning here of part 2, was from May 23rd, 2024, so just about 5 days ago. Oh, the tragedy of it, they said. It's been a difficult few days for us, dear ones, to be able to express ourselves while nurturing the space that you're all in, and to finally find the words to say what needs to be said, express what needs to be expressed. We'll say it's one of the hardest things that we've had to do while working with humanity on behalf of the Ascension. And while this is difficult, there will be other conversations that will be equally as difficult down the line. There are those among you who have been so lost to the dark that they no longer contain the ability to think rationally, empathetically, to reason, to consider, to reflect, and to ponder. These things are missing, and it strips these dear ones of some of the most purest essence of what it means to be human. It's a dark, dark tunnel. It's deep, and it's long, and it's so very dark. Nearly impossible to find your way back to the light. The inky blackness envelops a person, becomes its home, its natural state. And they continue here. These people may be able to function on a day-to-day basis, do their jobs, help their children with homework, show up to dinner parties, answer email. But just below the surface, something has gone terribly wrong. The dark forces who truly rule this planet and believe that they own humanity, which they don't, would have it no other way. As we mentioned previously, the family unit is weakened in this modern age. Children and babies are the most vulnerable, particularly on a worldwide scale. They also contain the purest life force with their beauty and innocence and their eagerness. We will explain this more, but generally speaking, there's a deep thirst for blood within a relatively small subset of the population who have, in essence, succumbed to the extremely seductive forces of dark perpetrated by the negative reptilian order. And they continue. It's a thirst for blood, but more importantly, the energetic attributes of that blood. This particular energy is the entire reason why the negative reptilian order, this regime, is here in the first place. This is why they go anywhere and do what they can to enslave a species. This blood, this life force, the luge, the fear, the innocence, they cannot thrive without it. It's the impetus behind every decision, every program, every action taken, every decision made. It is their backbone, and it's also their biggest vulnerability. We are very grateful for all the extremely heavy and difficult information that Queen Elizabeth brought forth through Shawna to help set the stage and a general understanding of the type of bloodthirst to which to which we refer. This is extremely difficult to articulate, and it's difficult to witness. This dear one here is preparing energetically and mentally for what is to come. We say these words gently. You are held, dear one. You are surrounded, flanked on all sides by those who love you, all who watch you, all who protect you, and all who bear witness to your journey. At that point, I started crying and I said, thank you so much. I feel all of you and I'm so grateful, so grateful. And Melchizedek continued here. On this day, we bear witness to an unfolding on a massive scale in terms of humanity, Mother Earth, and this entire plane of existence. This is the moment of reckoning. This is the ultimate atonement. It is the void, negative space, the cosmic vacuum turned in on itself. It is the breaking free, the thoughts beyond thoughts, the knowing beyond knowing. The hourglass, crushed into a million pieces, the glass shards and the grains of sand commingling to create something anew. The glass began as sand and now returns to its true self. This will be contained no longer, for it cannot, and it will not. The containment has served its purpose, and now it shatters. And they said, dear one, we feel this is enough for tonight. All right. This is from May 24th, 2024. And Melchizedek continues. This dear one here is beginning to understand in her conscious awareness this afternoon just how far and wide these messages are being carried, the scope of the frequency reach, the importance of these frequencies, extending out well beyond Earth. This is a lock and key moment for Shawna, and it is also critical for all of you to understand this. For it is not only all of you, the Army of Light Earth Division, the boots on the ground, as Shawna so fondly refers to all of you, but consciousness, entities who are not of this planet. Many are being educated and informed of the plight of humanity. It is a bit of a rally cry, dear ones, for this fight is long from over. For the next 1,000 years, we and many others like us will be continuing to be humanity's cheerleaders. Continue to rally support for your cause. Continue to recruit others to come to your aid and show their support in the ways that they are able. These messages, they said, are broadcast far and wide in the cosmos. Dear ones, and there's a part of you who is well aware of this fact. And in fact, when you incarnated on the planet, knowing that you chose to be a part of this particular mission, what helped keep you in trust for this process was the massive show of force that extends beyond Earth. The Galactic Federation of Light, the Galactic Federation of Worlds, the many galactic councils, the Star Team Alliance, the Nine, the Council of Nine, the Grand Council, and dear ones, so many, many more, all playing a role here, all participating. And many of these members of these various groups tune in each week, just as you do, to understand the level of consciousness reached thus far in terms of the ascension and the waking up to the truth of humanity's enslavement. We gave this dear one a small hint recently that this represents a turning point. And dear ones, there is no going back. We take our time here to be very deliberate with word choice, with frequency and intent. This moment, this disclosure, represents a ball going through the goalposts. It is a significant marker on this journey, and it has been regarded as a major milestone and a huge accomplishment for some time now. There are those on your planet under negative reptilian control who make sport of the killing and the ingesting of your babies. Thousands of years now, dear ones, tens of thousands of years, human sacrifice, satanic ritual. This represents the deepest, darkest realms of human consciousness under the influence of this bloodthirsty negative reptilian regime. This one has so many questions, and we plan to answer every one of them. At the same time, we will be observing your questions as well. Allow the disbelief to be present. Allow the anger to be present. Allow your sadness to be present. In this moment, we bow our heads at the horrific nature of these crimes, the absolute travesty of these actions, and the collective heartbreak upon knowing that this could possibly be happening. The collective agony around these acts is palpable in the field. The mothers, the fathers, the siblings, even the perpetrators who still contain the most minute shred of human essence, buried oh so deep, but still present. There is never a pre-life agreement on behalf of a soul aspect whose life is cut short by this act. This is never in anyone's blueprint. This is never a willful choice. You may ask, well, how has this been going on for tens of thousands of years when it is breaking every universal law around free will? The truth, our friends, the truth as we know it. And then there was a long pause here, and we took a break at this point, and we picked this up the next day. All right, how could this have been happening? So I'm going to stop here for a moment and just gather myself. Back on, so Tuesday I made the video where they talked about the family units, and they had said, Shawna, we're going to talk about babies, you know, and I had talked to you about that too in the video. Well, it was Wednesday, and they wanted to just pick this conversation right back up. And they had said, Shawna, everything changes once this comes out, everything changes. So I've been talking to them a little bit about that this week, and truly, you know, they really explained why that's true, and how important this is. And I just, you know, I was walking down the Columbia River, and it just like hits me that, yeah, this is actually happening. And it's like the enormity of all the things that we've been talking about for 3 years, everything piled on top of each other. It just became crushing for me, just like crushing. You know, like in these movies where something scary is going to happen and the hallway extends really far out and far away, like the trail for me as I'm walking down the river just like extended way out, and I it was kind of like there was energy waves in my eyes, and I couldn't catch my breath, and I had to stop and just, get a grip. And it's kind of been that way for me the last 6 days or so, just being in this place of, just being shell shocked here, and the team working so hard to counterbalance kind of this energy that I'm feeling. And they said to me yesterday, Shawna, we're witnessing a marked change in you, and we really, this is concerning to us. Please allow us to work with your field. So in between kind of the day-to-day stuff I'm trying to do and all the meditation and the channeling and, getting through this information, I'm also just needing to process the enormity of all of this. And again, guys, it's that difference between understanding conceptually that something could be true and like, yeah, it probably is true, versus for me just having this knowing in like the pit of my stomach here, or in my heart, this knowing. And that felt really different for me this week. Like getting this, it's like the thoughts beyond thoughts, like they were saying, like getting this at a deeper level. And then it was like these rabbit holes and these trails on YouTube with all these videos that are talking about this kind of thing. There's a lot out there right now about this topic because the proof is coming out. The people are speaking up. The shell around all of this is breaking apart. The facade is crumbling. The house of cards is coming down. So, and we knew this was happening. For me, I really haven't been paying much attention to really what's being said out there, but I'm starting to, at least with this week and this information, I think I've kind of been led, kind of around kind of what's been going on and what's being said, and the people coming forward to talk about this. What's interesting though, the missing link here in all of this, from what I can tell for the most part with what's going on YouTube, is the negative reptilian aspect. Right now it's just, oh, the Hollywood elites are absolutely crazy. Oh, they're doing this, and the sex trafficking and the pedophilia and the killing and murdering of children, the satanic rituals being kind of talked about as just this blanket evil, Satan worship, that kind of thing. But I think what's going to, and so I feel like collectively we're getting acclimated to these concepts. Like there is just some really, really awful, dreadful things happening right now on the planet, and have been for a long time. I think a lot of people have been kind of bearing their heads. It's just going to be, I think the evidence is coming out. There's going to be too many people who are going to be speaking out. People are going to feel the truth of these things at a deep level. But then it's this negative reptilian aspect. It is not humanity who has brought this upon themselves. This is an outside force. This is an extraterrestrial outside force, not humanity, that is enslaving us and influencing us, manipulating us in all facets of our lives, of this world, in order to do these kinds of acts, to do these things. So this linkage here to the negative reptilian regime is critical. This is going to be so important for people to understand that this is not how humanity normally is. We are beautiful people. We are full of heart. We are full of grace. We are full of compassion. We are creative. We are a beautiful species. And I just want to say also that to everybody who is not on Earth, not part of humanity right now, thank you so much for being here. What was it? Nibiru, all of you, that we had a representative from that planet come through last year or the year before saying, hey, Shawna, we're saying hi. We watch your videos. It's not hard for these beings to watch our videos. We have the Ascended Masters. We've got the angelic realm. We have our galactic friends. We've got the metaphysical folks like Melchizedek. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for witnessing this. And know that we would love to have your help, and in whatever way, shape, or form that you can provide it. And I just want to thank you in advance for anything that you can do to help support us. We have a really long road ahead of us. Everything's going to come crumbling down as the goggles come off and we start seeing what's really going on here on a mass level. We need your help. We can use all the help we can get right now, so thank you. Okay. I'm going to move on here to the next one. All right, so this is from May 26th, 2 days ago. Continuing on the idea here, how could this have been happening for so long? This is difficult, yes, even for us to fully articulate the nature of this problem and the situation in a way that will appease your frustration and disbelief and anger. How can those who are not human, who do not sit on your planet, who see things and know things from a different space of consciousness, different dimensions, if you will, allow something so heinous, so unbelievable to happen for so many years? And Melchizedek continues here. First, we say, we're so very sorry. This regime, who are the masterminds behind such diabolical actions, have been in the shadows, quietly spreading, creeping like mycelium, delicate tendrils reaching, growing, eventually occupying a space under the surface, away from most detection. Excuse me. Or quietly like a parasite to its host. Before the host realizes it has been so deeply infiltrated, so much damage has already been done. So much so, dear ones, that extracting the parasite could cause catastrophic damage to the whole of the host. Further, it does little good to snip a few tendrils off the mycelium or remove small parts of a parasitic infestation. And in fact, one could imagine a defensive retaliatory posture whereby the parasite or the mycelium grows even more stealth or even stronger in order to counteract the attack. It was decided, with the input of all affected parties, that a holistic approach would be the best and most long-lasting solution to the negative reptilian subjugation and consciousness occupation of humanity, as well as Mother Earth herself being a conscious being. We understand, dear ones, that nearly any plan would take too long for those of you who are suffering under the hands of the negative reptilians. These ministrations cannot be stopped soon enough. We hear this and we understand it. Taking this entire plane of existence from a third dimensional density to a fifth dimensional density is the best course of action and, relatively speaking, also the shortest path to liberation. Many, many lessons have been learned when combating this regime's preferred survival tactics. For certainly, humanity and Earth are not the first species, nor the first planet, to fall into their hands unwittingly, unknowingly, and so deeply. I believe this happened to the Lyrans too. All right, they continue here. Ascension will bring all into balance. Ascension will create a beautiful, love-filled environment whereby souls may wish to grow and evolve and learn. Earth will be restored to its original intention, a utopia where love and unity are its bedrock, where the negative reptilian regime cannot dwell, can no longer subjugate and no longer thwart free will, and exploit all of her beauty for their own greedy gains. There are two major choices being offered to the negative reptilian regime here on this plane of existence: evolve or leave. There has been an unwillingness on their part to do either. They have a deep-seated belief that humanity in some way belongs to them because the mycelium is so intertwined. The parasitic residency is so complete. So this process begins in earnest, dear ones. The disentanglement, the conscious understanding, the reconciliation, the reckoning and the rebuilding. Together we make all things new until this process is done and all have been restored. The struggle is very real at this level of existence, they said. And while relief can't come fast enough, the process is underway and it cannot be reversed. The light has already won, dear ones. Now we carry out this plan together to make it so. All right. And then they said again, dear one, we believe that this is it for today. And I said, all right. I said, is there anything else you're going to want to talk about before I make this video on Tuesday? And they didn't think so, but they let me know. And I think really this was it. This is another big epiphany here. And I've kind of been suspecting this, but they confirmed this. What Melchizedek is saying, that the reason we are ascending is because we want to get rid of the negative reptilian regime here on this plane of existence. We have to leave their density, which is more of a 3D density from what I understand, 4D. I should know this, sorry. Anyway, they're operating here at this density and they cannot operate at a 5th density, and that is the density of unity and love. So that will absolutely disband the negative reptilian regime here, all the programs they've had running, all the trapped souls, everybody who, has been kind of enslaved by them at a soul level, at an eternity level, all that gets released. All those folks are released. All those aspects are released. So it's huge, but here we are in an ascension process. And, the Galactic Federation of Light, back when I channeled them for 100 days straight back in, gosh, guys, it's been 2021 now, when I first started this channel. By the time this 1,000 years is done, Mother Earth will have completely resurfaced all of her surface. And I mean, this is a huge undertaking, and humanity will go from 3D to 4D to 5D while still in embodiment. So it boggles the mind, our puny little human minds here, to think about what has to happen to stop this regime. That's another thing that's just been weighing so heavy on me today. It's just like, wow, okay, we've got to take this in bite-sized chunks. This is why awareness is so important. This is where we're at right now. Disclosure, awareness, the eyes opening. It's the time of awakening. It's the great awakening. And then everything's going to crumble. And then we'll be rebuilding, and, more likely galactic disclosure, really coming to grips that we are just one of many, many species out in the cosmos. So this is an incredible time to be here on the planet right now. The beginning this process in earnest. And when I say beginning this, it's been several decades now, but still we're at the beginning. It's a long process. So here we are, team. What else? I just, Melchizedek, actually I could see what's been going on too with the babies. And it's not the first time that I've seen this kind of thing. It's just, it's absolutely horrific. And I'm going to talk a little bit in graphic detail, team. So plug your ears or, turn the video off. I'm about done here, but I just feel like I want to share this for those who can bear witness to this with me. There was a time that I was doing some energy work with Christar and Cynthia and some of our friends, and it's been like a year or so. But back then, I saw I saw a baby on like an altar, like this is a big satanic ritual, and this would have been a long time ago. Like I got a feeling it was kind of ancient Mexico, like somewhere in North America down, yeah. And I'm going to say, let's just say 10,000 years ago. They had carved a big rock, and it had some ledges around it. It's a big round circular globe rock, and they would bring this thing up and they would drop it on the baby's head. So I saw this, and we did a lot of healing work around this because this kind of thing was really common back then. And it was absolutely the negative reptilian regime. And then recently too, with this week, same idea, kind of it was a bringing down of a large, kind of 1 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot timber right down on the baby's head. And then, seeing kind of in graphic detail just how, they take the body and they cut it apart and they eat it and they drink the blood. Sorry, guys. Seeing it actually in your mind's eye, it's not something that you can really easily get rid of. This idea. And I just upon seeing that, and this was Wednesday, right after last week's video, and I just sat down and I just started writing out all my questions. This was the only way I could think to like deal with this mentally, is to write out all my questions. And I just had like, I don't know, a couple pages worth of questions, like all of the logistics of the who's, the how's, the where's, the why's. They've answered some of this here, but there's still a lot that I'm wondering about. And again, team, there's a lot of information, a lot of accusations flying around out there. I don't see how the average person is ever going to weed through kind of the conspiracy fake stuff versus what's actually real. And of course, that's all on purpose too, to really confuse us and to keep us freaked out and afraid. And again, I haven't seen anybody besides maybe some other channelers, who are really linking all this to the negative reptilian. So this is a big role that we're playing here, making this link, bringing this information forward in the way that we are, on a cosmic scale, a cosmic, stage here, to really help keep everybody informed about where we are at consciously with this information, with our ability to work through this, to witness it, to come to grips with it, and to eventually emancipate it. So again, this is huge karmic balancing for me. And the pain and suffering I've had this week, it's all part of the process. I do feel like it's part of my personal atonement for whatever roles other aspects of my soul played, to help kind of create these programs. Yeah. All right, team. Let's try to really stay grounded and centered with this information. More information to come. As they said, Melchizedek is watching over us. They are listening to your questions. Ask them directly for support. Get quiet every day if you can. Get quiet. Connect with your energy field. Connect with your breath. Connect with something larger than this immediate experience, which is an illusion for learning. Boy, are we learning. We're learning a lot, aren't we? Okay. All right, well, I guess I'm going to end it here. It feels like it's ending on a real bummer note. I sure appreciate you being here. I appreciate you bearing witness to my atonement, my karmic balancing. I appreciate you saying yes to this mission, to showing up each and every week to be on this journey together. I could not do this work without all of you, and I am completely 100% sure of that. This is really, really tough stuff. All right, guys, I love you. Thank you, and I shall see you next week, if not sooner. Mwah.